Hi there, in this lesson we're going to look at percentages but using a calculator this time. So the good news in this case is the technique can be used for any percent. Like in the last lessons we were looking at using non-calculated examples. You were having to learn lots of different ways of manipulating the percent to work it out and so on. This is just a straightforward, it works for every case including decimals and so on. So let's look at how this works. So to work out 14% of £245, basically, what we need to understand is 14% means 14 out of 100. Way back in the intro to percentages, we said percentages means out of 100. So 14 out of 100 is 14 over 100 as a fraction, if you like. Now you can write that down. You can type it into a calculator, but it would be 14 divided by 100. That's 14 out of 100. And once you've created a fraction like that, you can times it by the 245. And if you do that, if you do 14, it's the calculator here, divided by 100, and you're timesing it by 245, you'll get your answer of 34.3. Now notice we've got 34.3 and this is in pounds. It's really important to add the 0 at the end. If you did this in a test, 34.3 is not accurate and you'd lose a mark. You would never go into a shop, for example, and see £34.3. It would always be 30 pence. So we note there, always make sure that you answer in pounds to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's look at the next example. Find 6% of 400 centimetres this time. So 6% is just 6 divided by 100. And then you times it by the 400. So let's look at that. 6 divided by 100. And you times it by the 400. That's 24. 24 centimetres. There's no need to put decimal points in this. It's not in pounds and so on. Okay, and the last example here, 3.6% of 90 grams. Looks complicated, but we can just use the same technique. 3.6 means 3.6 out of 100. So divide by 100, and then times it by 90. You can put the brackets in or not. It doesn't really make any difference here. So let's type it in, 3.6 divided by 100, and then times by 90. We'll get our answer of 3.24 grams, and there you go, 3.24 grams. Now, this is the way I would like you to try it. There is other ways of doing it. You could divide 245, for example, by 100 to get 1%, and then times it by 14, and just type that into the calculator. And if you watch this, if I clear that, 245, that's kind of like the non-calculator method. Divide by 100 to get 1%, and then times it by 14, you would also get 34.3, and make sure you would write it as £34.30. But that idea works as well. Again, 400 divided by 100 to get 1%, and then times it by 6. That would give you 24, wouldn't it? You'd even need a calculator there. And last one, that would be 90 divided by 100 and times 3.6, but you would need a calculator here, wouldn't you? And that would come out to be 3.24. Okay, finally, just a wee note. Sometimes you're asked to do calculations with percentages with a wee fraction next to it. So when you think, oh, how do I type that into a calculator? Well, if you're asked to find 12.5%, just use 12.5 divided by 100 and times it and so on. 33 1/3 percent. Well, if you type a third into a calculator, this is what happens. 1 divided by 3. Doesn't really show it there, but you get 0.333, that's there. 0.3333333, loads and loads of 3's. So 33 1/3 is just 33.333333. The minimum I would recommend of 3's you use after the dot is 2. If you can use more, then that's fine. But if you only use 1, then your answer is not going to be accurate. A third of 100 is 33.333, isn't it? It's not, if you times 3 by 3 you get 9, not like 100 or 10. So you've got to be really careful for that. So use at least 2 3's. Again, 66 2/3. So if you type 2/3 into a calculator, let's do that. 2 divided by 3. What you get is 0.66666, loads of 6's after it. So this is just 66.666666. The more 6's you use after the dot, the more accurate your answer will be. So something to note there. Don't put just 0.6. 0.66 is more accurate, or even 0.67 I suppose you could go to.